Well, Helton's stud wideout, Michael Pittman Jr., he admitted this week that the fan base is acting, quote, a little cold to the program right now. You think that's a fair reaction, Matty?
I do, because the standard and the expectation for USC's championships, it just is. And it was, 10, 12 years ago where we were fortunate enough to be a part of championship teams, and then they won a lot of Rose Bowls after that. And it just, the consistency isn't there for this fan base and the alumni, and they're upset. And look, I would just point to, we just talked about the season. You lose your starting quarterback week one. Keaton Slovis comes in. I think he's a diamond in the rough. This kid is special. He's really good. You commit to Graham Harrell, who brought a consistent offense for the first time in years. There's positive pieces moving forward. That being said, how do you build a championship team? Through recruiting. And this year, in the early signing day period, a lot of fans were in uproar. I got texts and calls and what's going on with this recruiting class, and I don't know. And I think when you look at USC, I think gone are the days where, USC recruited itself, Palm Trees, Hollywood, West Coast, Pac-12, the Sun, all of those things. And then you had great recruiters like Pete Carroll. Those days are gone. Kids aren't just going to USC just to go to USC. You got to win championships, and you got to be developed. You got to play in the NFL. And when I look at USC, I think some of the reasons why that's not happening is the instability with Clay Helton every single year. I think the lack of development that we're seeing from a lot of these players. They're not sending a lot of guys to the NFL. Yeah, there's some good players going, but not every year consistently. So to me, there's concern. I think tonight a win against a good team could give them some momentum going in the offseason, but the recruiting to me is the #1 issue.
Yeah, and I want to go back to something you said. There is a standard when you're coaching at USC. It's Rose Bowl or better, nothing less. Last in recruiting in the Pac-12 tells you everything you need to know, because most of these kids that are here, that were raised here, they all grew up USC fans. They all wanted to go to USC. But when you're last in recruiting, it's very tough to compete year in and year out. It just is. If you're not getting the best recruits, it's tough to go out there to play against Oregon, right? Kayvon Thibodeau, the #1 recruit in the nation last year, was right down the street, and he ends up going to Oregon. And so we're seeing almost a wild, wild west down here in Southern California. And Urban Meyer talked about it on our show. He said there was a time when coaches knew not to recruit in Southern California. They knew because all these kids were guaranteed to go to USC. And so it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out next year for them, because they're just not getting those recruits. And coach and kids want to know, am I going to be developed for the next level? And are we going to have a shot to win? And that's not happening right now.
Yeah, it's about the culture, right? They're not upholding the culture that you guys helped create at USC. To me, the recruiting is a little bit overblown because they're tied for the smallest class in the Power 5. And if you look at, so 11 signees, they're obviously not going to be ranked as high based on that point system. And they recruited for what they needed. 6 offensive linemen, 1 4-star. And I understand they're not the 5-star guys or a lot of 4-star guys that we're accustomed to seeing, but it's also tough sometimes to judge some of those offensive linemen. Usually good classes come with a high-ranked quarterback. It's tough when you have a true freshman that played the way Keaton Slovis did this year, and then also JT Daniels coming back to compete for the job next year. It's tough to be able to recruit a top-rated guy because you're going to get log-jammed in there, and he's probably going to end up moving on and transferring. So I'm not sure they're headed in the right direction. They're building that culture. But I am curious to see where it goes, because with Graham Harrell coming back, that might have been their biggest recruit. The way this offense finished the season, winning 5 of their last 6, I think getting him, retaining him, keeping him on board for the going for the future helps this offense, those skill players moving forward. So again, time will tell. Tonight will help tell what it holds for the future. And let's not forget too, heading into next year, 2021's class, they're ranked 10th nationally. So I know it was bad this year, but looking in the future, it looks a little bit more promising.
This game matters tonight. They got to win this game.
Stability matters so much in those coaching offenses.
Huge.
But there's some talk, defensive coordinator, special teams positions at USC could very much still be in flux once the season finally comes to a close.
Here the Red Box Bowl, and off we go.
Bowl games are made for big moments.
Incredible!
And when 2 teams are both looking to end bowl drought.
What a stick!
Something's gotta give.
How about this?
Chase Garber's lead streaky Cal.
Touchdown, Cal!
Lovie Smith has his Fighting Illini back in business.
What a game!
The Red Box Bowl, Cal, Illinois, Monday at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here, College Football on Fox.